It was supposed to be just another interview, light, funny, and filled with the same easy chemistry that fans had adored for nearly a decade. Sam Heughan and Caitríona Balfe were sitting side by side under the soft studio lights, celebrating the 10th anniversary of Outlander. The mood was relaxed. They teased each other, shared behind-the-scenes memories, and laughed at inside jokes that only two people who had worked together for years could understand. Then the host asked one simple question, the kind of question actors usually answer with a polished smile. After all these years, what has been the most meaningful part of this journey for both of you? For a moment, the air seemed to shift. Sam leaned back slightly, exhaled, and looked over at Caitríona. The grin that had been on his face all evening softened into something different, thoughtful, almost fragile. The audience grew quiet, sensing a change. "You know," he began slowly, his Scottish accent quieter than usual, "I don't think I've ever said this properly, but Caitríona, she's been my anchor through all of it." The words hung in the air like something sacred. Caitríona blinked, caught completely off guard. She smiled nervously, waiting for Sam to laugh it off or make a joke, but he didn't. His eyes stayed on her, steady and sincere. "We've done this for 10 years, Sam continued. "And honestly, I wouldn't have made it through some of those years without her. She's not just my co-star, she's my partner in every sense that matters. She's my friend, my sounding board, my family." For a heartbeat, Caitríona didn't move. She wasn't acting now, she was genuinely frozen. Her lips parted slightly as she tried to process what he'd just said. The cameras zoomed in, catching that brief, unguarded moment when her composure cracked. The host's eyebrows lifted. "Wow," he said softly, glancing between them. "That's a very emotional answer." Sam smiled shyly, lowering his gaze. "Well, it's true," he said simply. The crowd erupted into applause. Some fans in the front row stood up, clapping and cheering, while others sat in stunned silence, smiling through tears. Caitríona turned to look at Sam again, this time her expression softer, eyes glistening, as though she might cry. "I wasn't expecting that," she whispered, her voice barely audible through the microphone. "I know," Sam replied with a small laugh. "I wasn't either." The laughter that followed was gentle, full of affection. The host, clearly moved, leaned forward and said, "You two have something really special. It's rare to see that kind of bond last so long in this industry." Caitríona nodded, still looking a little dazed. "It's true," she said softly. "We've been through everything together. Every season, every challenge. I guess we just grew up side by side." But even as she spoke, her face still carried that trace of disbelief, as if she was replaying his words in her head. Later that night, clips of the interview flooded social media. Within hours, the moment went viral. Fans dissected every second, every glance, every tiny pause. The most replayed part? The instant Sam said the word family. One fan tweeted, "The way she froze, she didn't expect it. You can see how real it was." Another wrote, "That wasn't acting. That was two people being completely honest." By morning, #hashtag she didn't expect it and #Sam Heughan emotional were trending worldwide. Edits of the scene filled TikTok, slow-motion shots of Caitríona's stunned reaction paired with soft music and quotes like, "Sometimes the truest words are the ones we never see coming." Even entertainment outlets picked up the story. Variety ran the headline, "Outlander stars share rare emotional moment on camera. Caitríona Balfe's reaction says it all." But perhaps the most powerful responses came from the fans who had watched their journey from the beginning. One viral comment read, "For years, they've played lovers. Tonight, we saw something deeper. Two souls who've built a bond that even fame can't touch." When the interview wrapped, Sam and Caitríona shared a quiet hug. It wasn't rehearsed, and it wasn't for the cameras. The audience could feel it, that mix of gratitude, respect, and something unspoken that lived between them. And as they walked off stage together, Sam turned to her with a faint, teasing smile. "You didn't expect that, did you?" Caitríona laughed softly, still looking a little overwhelmed. "No," she said, "but I'll never forget it." The crowd erupted once more, but this time, the applause felt different, not for Jamie and Claire, but for Sam and Caitríona, two people whose connection had just revealed itself in the most unexpected, beautiful way. And though the lights dimmed and the cameras stopped rolling, that moment, her frozen expression, his trembling voice, would continue to live in the hearts of millions who had witnessed something real. When the lights dimmed and the cameras stopped rolling, the room stayed strangely quiet, as if everyone present was still caught in the echo of what had just happened. Sam and Caitríona walked backstage together, smiling politely at crew members who congratulated them on another great interview. But something in the air felt different. Caitríona was still processing. Her steps were slower than usual, her mind replaying his words. "She's my friend, my family." She hadn't expected him to say that. Not on camera, not in front of millions. Sam was usually reserved, careful about showing too much emotion in public. But that night, something in his tone had been raw, unfiltered, like a weight he'd finally chosen to set down. One of the show producers later recalled, "You could tell it wasn't planned. The second he started talking, the whole room just stilled. Even the crew behind the cameras went silent. It was one of those moments you don't forget." Backstage, Sam and Caitríona shared a quiet moment alone before they were surrounded by press. Sam gave her a small, shy grin and said softly, "Sorry for catching you off guard." She laughed, though her eyes were still shiny. "You think? You just made me freeze on national television." "Good," he said playfully. "You've done that to me enough times." They both laughed, but the emotion between them was unmistakable, gentle, unspoken gratitude. Later that night, as clips from the interview spread across social media, Caitríona scrolled through the flood of reactions. Fans had captured her exact expression, the split second when her breath caught, her smile faltered, her eyes widened. Someone captioned it, "That's the look of someone hearing the truth for the first time." She smiled at the screen, shaking her head. "They notice everything," she whispered. An hour later, she posted a single Instagram story, a still image from the interview showing Sam mid-sentence. Her caption was simple. "Didn't expect it, but grateful for it." Within minutes, fans flooded her comments with heart emojis and messages like, "We saw how much it meant to you," and "This friendship is everything." By the next morning, every entertainment outlet was running with the story. Entertainment Weekly wrote, "Caitríona Balfe's reaction to Sam Heughan's emotional confession has captured hearts across the world." People magazine called it a rare moment of truth between two actors whose bond transcends fiction. Even fellow actors weighed in. Sophie Skelton, their Outlander co-star, commented on the viral clip. "They're the most real people I know. What you saw there, that's exactly who they are." Meanwhile, fans on Twitter turned the moment into something of a global celebration. The hashtag "She Didn't Expect It" became synonymous with authenticity, a reminder that even in the scripted world of Hollywood, genuine emotion could still break through. One particularly touching post read, "You could see it in her eyes. She wasn't just reacting to his words. She was realizing how deeply they've been connected all these years." Behind the scenes, Sam was overwhelmed by the response. In a short clip from an interview the following week, he reflected on what had happened. "I didn't plan to say it. It just came out. I guess I was thinking about everything we've been through, the long days, the early mornings, the laughter, the loss, and I realized how much she's been there through it all. I wanted her to know that. That's all." The interviewer smiled and asked, "And how did she take it?" Sam laughed softly. "Well, she froze. That's Caitríona for you. Always composed until you surprise her. But I think she knows what she means to me." That same day, Caitríona did a podcast interview where the host inevitably brought it up. She sighed, smiling fondly. "Honestly, I didn't expect it. Sam's not someone who shows emotion easily, not like that, anyway. But when he spoke, It felt genuine. I think that's why I couldn't move. It just hit me right here. She placed her hand over her heart. The host leaned in. Was it hard to hold back tears? Caitríona nodded. It was, because I knew he meant every word. That honesty from both of them, separate, uncoordinated, but aligned, became the story's heartbeat. Weeks later, fans were still sharing the clip, calling it the moment that proved their connection was real. Some said it was better than any scene from Outlander. Others wrote about how it reminded them of the importance of telling people how much they mean to you. At a convention in Scotland a month later, a fan stood up during a Q&A and asked Sam, "Do you regret saying it?" Sam paused, then shook his head. "No," he said quietly. "Sometimes, life gives you moments you don't plan, and you just have to speak from the heart." The room erupted in applause. Caitríona looked over at him from her chair, smiling that same frozen but warm smile that had gone viral weeks before. Sam grinned back, half embarrassed, half proud. In that instant, it was clear, whatever label people wanted to put on their relationship didn't matter. What mattered was the truth behind it. And as fans left the convention, still wiping away tears, one quote from that original interview echoed in every heart. "She didn't expect it, but she'll never forget it." Because in a world full of scripted moments, Sam and Caitríona had given people something rare, a glimpse of real emotion, unplanned, unfiltered, and unforgettable.